Good morning, Devon.
BBC Radio Devon.
Top story. Hundreds of Alzheimer's sufferers in Devon look set to benefit from drugs which until now have not been available on the NHS. Lisa Hay is in the newsroom.
The National Institute for Clinical Excellence has decided 3 drugs in particular should now be available on prescription. Norman McNamara from Torquay was diagnosed at the age of just 50. His consultant managed to get him on one of the drugs. He says it's transformed his life.
Since taking the Ibixa 14 months ago, I've got my life back. And it will be such good news for fellow sufferers out there. And obviously, let's not forget the carers as well, because it's the carers who have to look after the people with Alzheimer's.
Good morning, Devon.
BBC Radio Devon.
6:05 now to our main story on Good Morning Devon, that hundreds of people with Alzheimer's disease in Devon who've been denied medical treatment could soon get life-changing drugs on the NHS. The National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence has changed its position on 4 drugs, and today it's issuing new draft guidelines. Jane Draper reports.
It's 4 years since NICE ruled that Alzheimer's patients in England and Wales couldn't have drug treatment until their condition reached a more advanced stage. Alzheimer's is incurable, and the medicines, Aricept, Exelon and Reminil, don't help everyone. But after using different modelling and examining results from 17 new trials, NICE now accepts the drugs are cost-effective because they reduce some of the symptoms of dementia and, crucially, delay the need for institutional care.
Meanwhile, Norman McNamara from Torquay was diagnosed 3 years ago at the age of just 50. He felt himself sliding into an oblivion until his consultant managed to get him onto one of the drugs that has now been licensed. Norman and his wife Elaine are thrilled.
The drug I'm on at the moment is called Ibixa, and before that I was going downhill very, very rapidly. Since taking the Ibixa 14 months ago, I've got my life back. I truly got my life back. I can do things now what I couldn't do before. Before the Ibixa, I couldn't string a sentence. I certainly couldn't do an interview like this, and I certainly couldn't write any poems or testimonials, which I've done.
Elaine, what's it been like, for you having him on this medication?
It makes life a lot easier. He's doing things now that he couldn't do before. Because he couldn't hold a conversation, he was getting very frustrated, very angry. And now it's like he's got his life back, and for him and for all the other people out there, they all deserve this. And if the medication helps, then they should all get that medication, because it's hard to be a carer, but it's hard to be the person who's got the Alzheimer's as well.
And you were saying you got your husband back as well.
Yes, I did, because he was very frustrated, very angry, which he doesn't get angry at all. He's a very laid-back person. It was like living with a different person, and that's very hard to deal with. Even though I've been a carer for 30 years, having someone actually living with you 24/7 and looking after them is a totally different ball game.
My future now is looking very hopeful. Because I've got Ibixa, that has given me the hope. Because I've got my life back, because of the medication, I now have the hope that a cure will come one day, and I truly believe that that cure will come one day soon. The drugs has given me the confidence back. It's given me the confidence to do what I do today, and it should be given to everybody else who needs it. People have asked me many a time, what's it like being diagnosed at age 50 with Alzheimer's? And I said, of course, it's devastating. And how do you deal with it? I deal with it. I've only got to look at my wife, my children, and I have 9 grandchildren. And how could I give up? What life lesson would it be to those children if I just gave up? No, it's not in my nature, it's not in my blood. And I'm more determined now than ever to beat it. And I'm one of the luckiest men alive because I've got my family on my side.
What an amazing story. Norman McNamara and his wife Elaine from Torquay speaking to our reporter Sophie Pearce. Norman, in fact, has written a book about his experiences. He's also published a book of poems, as he was mentioning there to Sophie. And he writes a blog online too, which you can read if you want to go and have a look. It's Norm, Norm, sad.blogspot.com. And we'll be hearing from the Chief Executive from NICE after 8 here on Good Morning Devon as to why they've now decided, after all this time, that these drugs are now going to be available on the NHS. These are draft guidelines, by the way, so they've still got to be rubber stamped by the government. But we'll hear from the Chief Exec of NICE after 8 here on BBC Radio Devon.
It's a human sign when things go wrong.